What's going on, guys? Matt back again, this time for another college football ranking. Go ahead and throw up the ranking from last time. See that I have Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Florida, and Penn State. Starting with number one, Clemson. They had a close game with North Carolina. North Carolina probably had a better chance of winning the game if they would have just didn't gone to overtime. You never know what's going to happen. I don't know why you would leave it down to one play at the goal line against a team that's way more talented than you. Who knows? They could always miss a kick. It's like our game against Missouri in 2013 or no 2014. No, it was 2013. 2013 against Missouri, went to overtime. They missed a chip shot for us to win the game. So you never know what's going to happen. So they should have done that, but Clemson wins the game, so they're still undefeated, still the defending champions, so still number one in my ranking. Next, Alabama. They had the week off, I think, because I know they play A&M this week. So they're still at number two, still undefeated. Oklahoma, I'm not sure who they played, but I'm sure they blew them out. Their only big game I know of is Texas coming up. I don't know who else they play in the Big 12, but I think that's their biggest game of the season is Texas. LSU, they might have had the week off. Otherwise, I'd remember who they played. I think Vandy was last week. Georgia had the weekend off. Yeah, they had their bye week, and they played Tennessee this weekend. Auburn, they blew out Mississippi State. Big win for them. They're starting to look like an elite program, deserving of a top 10 or top 5 ranking. Ohio State absolutely destroyed Nebraska. Nebraska was an unranked 3-1 team. No one was really talking about them, but it's still very impressive the way that Ohio State is just beating down every team they face week to week. Ohio State still has to play Wisconsin at some point. I think they play Penn State every year. So I think those are probably their two biggest games. Obviously Michigan, but Wisconsin, Penn State look better than Michigan so far. After Ohio State is Wisconsin, who I just was mentioning. They played someone that shouldn't have played them so close. I think they ended up winning by like 12 or something. Most people chalk it up to a kind of letdown after a big week, destroying Michigan the way they did. It's hard for teams to come back the following week and play up to their level. It's like when we beat Alabama in 2010. Very next week we lost to Kentucky. So that is a very, very real thing. But Wisconsin still survives, so they're still in the top 10. Florida, they beat up on Towson, I think. I don't remember what the score was. They're still undefeated. They have Auburn this week. So we'll see who wins between that. And then number 10, Penn State. They destroyed Maryland 50-something to nothing, I think it was. Maryland looked like a promising team after that beat down over Syracuse. Maybe they haven't learned how to handle their successes. I don't know, but Penn State certainly looks good right now. That makes me happy because that's another team that can challenge Ohio State and get them out of the picture. The picture is always more interesting with Ohio State out of it. So if they can take down Ohio State, that'd be great. Okay, so moving into week 6. Number 1 team, still Clemson. Barely lost to or barely won over North Carolina. They have a bye week this week, just like we do. So they'll remain number 1 for the next week. Alabama plays at A&M. They're number 2. They'll most likely win that game. I can't see them losing that game with the way A&M has been playing this year. Coming in at number 3, Oklahoma, still haven't lost, still last year's playoff team. Like I said, I can't recall who they played last week. Maybe it was Texas Tech. I can't remember. But still undefeated, still number 3. LSU coming in at 4. I think they play Florida in 2 weeks, so that'll be their next test. LSU. So basically, there's kind of like a tie between LSU, Georgia, Auburn, and Ohio State. So those are my next teams. I have LSU at 4. That's my last playoff participant right there for this week. But underneath LSU, I have Georgia, Auburn, and Ohio State, and I feel like those are kind of interchangeable. The reason I have LSU at that top spot right now is they, to me, still have the best victory of the year of any team in this top 10 with their win at Texas. They also beat Georgia last year, so the last time those two teams played, LSU won. They beat them pretty thoroughly, I believe. Georgia has the next best win with Notre Dame. Auburn has their big win over Oregon on neutral field. Georgia beat Auburn last year, so I have Georgia over Auburn for that reason. And then Ohio State I have underneath those 3 teams simply because Ohio State at this point does not have a big win in terms of the opponent they face. They've blown everyone out. I think a lot of people right now have Ohio State as number 1 as the best team in the country. I don't think they're wrong to do that. I just think that you have to reward teams for beating very quality opponents. And LSU has the most quality win of any team, including the playoff teams, those that made the playoff last year. That's the only reason they're really above LSU right now. Is because of the fact that they were in the playoff last year. So let's see, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, Ohio State, and underneath Ohio State, Wisconsin. I just think that Ohio State has the mental edge over Wisconsin if they were to play. Well, they do play. It's at Ohio State. That's another benefit to Ohio State, and they just have the mental edge. Ohio State's used to winning more than Wisconsin. They're a more historic program. Hopefully, Wisconsin will win that game, but I have Ohio State over them right now. Number 9. And this is my only change in this week's ranking is I have Penn State at 9, Florida at 10. Florida and Penn State both do not have a big win. Given that fact, Penn State has rolled from what I can remember, including this huge, dominating win over Maryland. I don't know if anyone saw such a dominating win coming over Maryland, especially with Maryland looking better at times this year. They're very up and down so far. Florida, that Miami game was so big before it started, and now no one cares or remembers that game. They blew out Tennessee like they should have. I think it was 33-3. But they haven't looked too impressive, and they play Auburn this weekend. And I don't expect Florida to be in this top 10 anymore, so it really doesn't matter that I dropped them to 10. They won't be there. I predict we'll have the same, because I think Auburn-Florida is the biggest game this week. I'm not sure who any of these other any of these other top 10 teams. I know Alabama's at A&M, but no one really expects that to be a good game. But maybe it will be, and maybe we'll have a surprise. But that's my Week 6 ranking. I look forward to this weekend. I look forward to Florida getting their first conference loss. We certainly need that. But if you agree or disagree with anything I've listed here, if there's anything I missed, let me know. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future videos, and y'all have a good one.